Hi, everyone. Before we get started on today's episode, we would like to take a moment to remember and recognize an author, a favorite of ours, who passed away a couple days ago, as of this recording, William C. Dietz, who wrote the two Resistance books that we covered last year, and he also wrote Mass Effect Deception, which is probably his most infamous book, but he wrote that nonetheless. Halo the Flood, probably his most popular book. He also wrote a StarCraft book, a Hitman book, three Star Wars books, and he had a bunch of his own original works too. Philip, you said some things about Dietz and kind of the relationship that he sparked between us. If you would like to say some words about Dietz and about the effect that he had on us.
Right. Uh, you know, as a book reader and sci-fi enjoyer in general, there are very few authors that I honestly hold close to my heart. I could probably count on one hand how many of those authors are, and William Dietz will forever be one of those just because of not only how enjoying like in depth he made one of my favorite franchises, Resistance, for me. Like giving so much more detail in life to many characters as well as the world in general for the Resistance, Insomniac's Resistance, I should say specifically, but also the really close bond and relationship that I formed with couple people in my life, Liam being one of those people.
Mm.
Just to really like, I'm very thankful that these books that he has written over the years could bring me so close to somebody that I very cherish in my life, but also give me a fantastic read. Not only just for one specific franchise, but as Liam said, like multiple different franchises that are related to sci-fi. So I'm very thankful. I'm glad that he just took the initiative to, you know, be a great author, be a great sci-fi author, and bring me and some of my closest friends to like to get together and get to discuss something we both enjoy. Especially something that was from my childhood. So
Mm-hmm.
William Dees will forever like have a special place in my heart. I'm thankful that he lived as long as he did and was able to produce as
Mm-hmm.
much as he did, and I very much hope that like his passing was peaceful. I hope that his family can find solace, and I know that he will be very missed not only by his family but by many of his fans. And I hate that we lost a very great mind, a great author in general, and and I'm sure a great man as well.
Mm-hmm.
I will forever miss his unique sound effects that he would write into words for certain
Yes,
characters.
the Dietzenings,
Um,
as we called them, the
the,
Dietzenings.
the Deacenings, as we would call them, yes. But we all have that time. We only have a certain amount of years in our life. Sometimes that's shorter than others, but I'm thankful to think that he lived a long life. I mean, I think he was 81. Is that correct? When it was
Yes,
how
I
old he was?
I believe the post said 81. I checked back on the wiki page; they put it at 80. Um, so
Gotcha.
yeah.
Um, so he will be very missed, but he will forever be like memorialized in his works for future generations to enjoy.
Yes.
Um, Not everybody gets to have that legacy to leave behind, but he worked very hard in his life to achieve what he wanted, and he very much like made so I believe, at least in my personal case, he made so many people, he made me happy, and I'm sure that he made many others happy for their respective franchises and just his works in general. So he will be remembered for many years, and I know until the day I die and pass away, he will be remembered. And so I'm very thankful, and I hope that he finds peace in the afterlife. So
Yes.
yeah,
I hope his wife Marjorie is doing well, and his family, like Philip said, is doing well in these times. I know that we've definitely Philip and I had some plans or some intentions to one day interview Dietz, ask him about the Resistance books, his writing for Resistance, Burning Skies, and other stuff like his original works and Mass Effect Deception, what went wrong there, and stuff like that. But yeah, he's definitely had his critics, but he's also definitely had his praises from us, and we will definitely miss Dietz. Dietz was also a veteran of the United States Marine Corps and the United States Navy. I believe he was a medic in one of them, but he served for his he served his country, and we definitely thank him for his service, and
Indeed.
thank him for uh everything that he's provided for us in terms of writing as well. And maybe one day on the podcast, if we get around to it, maybe Philip and I, along with our friend Liz and whomever, will dedicate some time to reading some of Dietz's original works, and maybe we'll do an episode on William Dietz and his book series.
I think that's a fantastic idea, as just in the memory of not only just for our enjoyment, but in memory of William Dietz. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure that I'm sure he'll a Qui Gon Jinn like Force ghost of him will like appear in the background of like of like the podcast, and he'll be like, "Good,
Good,
yes,"
yes.
barking, barking noises as he fades away.
Yes, if anybody wants to find out more about Dietz and some of the stuff that he wrote, there are some interviews out there on YouTube, some podcasts who were lucky enough to interview him about the Resistance books and other stuff. So some of that stuff does exist. You do get to hear his voice. And he did his homework. I will say when he talked about Resistance, he actually played the games. He did his homework. He wanted Resistance on PC. He was quite the gamer, which is very
Mhm.
nice to know that he had respect for the genre that he was writing for.
Indeed, indeed.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bricked Up Podcast, building your algorithm brick by brick. And today I am once again joined by my co host, Philip Wagner, aka the American Mutant. Say hi, Philip.
Hi, everybody. I love dinosaurs. And if you love dinosaurs, oh boy, do we have a treat for you. Is that your autistic special interest? Oh boy, do we have a treat for you. And even better, you know what I got sitting right in front of me, Liam? I got me some dino nuggies for dinosaur themed, things for this episode. Let's. Do you want me to reveal exactly what dinosaur topics we're talking about today, or at least relation to dinosaurs today?
If you want to, yes, go ahead.
Oh boy, oh boy. Well, let me just hit you guys with a nostalgic little song that we can't actually put the real song on because we'd be copyright striked from hell. So na 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 na
Na,
na na
na, na.
na.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You get it. It's Jurassic Park, motherfuckers. We're covering Jurassic Park today.
Yes,
So
for the 1 year anniversary of the podcast, Jurassic Park. Yeah, woo! 1 year, 1 year, and we barely broke 30 subscribers in a year, but we did it. We're here.
all you 30 subscribers, guess what? You're getting nothing for this celebration, but I guess just this podcast episode. So thank you all for devoting your time to just our autistic ramblings of just things that we enjoy and things that we've made memories with or anything like that.
Mm,
And I think this episode will be very enjoyable to all of our listeners. Not only
yeah.
for us, but also so yeah.
Yes. And Philip, I just want to let you know that there were some stats that came out about podcasts, newfound podcasts. Some of them don't even make it past episode 1 or episode 2, and some of them barely last a year. So I kind of consider ourselves lucky that we've lasted this long with the viewers that
That is
we've had and the subscribers that we've gained and the episodes that I keep re-listening to.
right. See, actually, Liam's the majority
I
of the
am the
viewers. That
majority of the
yeah,
viewers.
but hey, but you know what? That's all right. We got to trick the algorithm to thinking that we actually have viewers. But you know what? That's pretty encouraging though to think about it. I know there have been times where like the content rolling out has been slow, and there have been episodes where the content's kind of boring. But you know, you
Yep.
have them stinkers every once in a while. But
Yeah.
like it's pretty good to like think that this year, like for 2026, we've definitely planned out a better like episode per month, as well as like making sure that episode comes out for the month and everything. I know that like last year was kind of like inconsistent a little bit, but like I'm very thankful that we're still here, you know,
Mhm.
and still kicking and have topics. And even after like we have the entire year planned out, at least for each month,
Yeah.
and we still have many more topics after this year to like talk about as well. So there is plenty of content on the horizon, viewers.
Yeah.
So
I think
please
we're
stay tuned because we have a lot.
yeah, I think we're gonna be busy in September because that's before peak season starts for you. So that's what we have to record. Like 4 episodes.
It's probably going to be like recording an episode each week in September. Is
Yeah,
probably what's going to happen. But you know
it'll be
what?
worth it.
We'll get it done.
But
So,
yeah,
well, let's talk about some well, not true dinosaurs as some people like to say, but you
yeah.
know what? Fuck them. Dinosaur time.
These are my
Uh,
dinosaurs. I grew up with them.
Listen, you can't. You might change the image of how the Spinosaurus looks, but god damn it, I will always have one image of the Spinosaurus that is peak design, and it's gonna be the JP3 goddamn Stegos or not Stegosaurus, Spinosaurus, and you can't tell me any fucking differently, and that's what it's gonna look like for the rest of your time.
Yep.
Yep. No, let's get into it though. I guess let's like I feel like probably most of the viewers have seen at least one Jurassic Park movie, if not all three of the original movies. Now, the viewership for like the next seven or not seven, 4 movies that came out after that, your mileage may vary, you know, but I suppose we can just talk about the general points of Jurassic Park, at least the first 3 films, and then we can get into the other ones. Something I want to say to everybody is that Jurassic Park was another big highlight of Liam and I's friendship in the early days. Like
Hmm.
one of the very first like little phrases that we always joked about came from one of these first 3 movies. And Liam, would you like to start off that little phrase for me real quick?
That's Cooper.
Please,
Please
please,
stop. You know I can't stop this plane.
this plane.
Please, please.
And gets snatched up by the goddamn fucking we we were playing Space Hulk at this time, and I think we envisioned a video where we
Oh my
thought about
god. We were
we
the I remember the actual night. We were on a phone call with Liz and we brought up Jurassic Park. And you and I landed on that scene and we laughed our asses off.
oh my god, we were just like thinking up of scenarios of just like fucking Cooper being like he's running like down the hall or whatever. And or no. We would reference anytime we saw a specific character in a video game we were playing together or like a movie we were watching together, and we would just be like, that's Cooper.
That's Cooper.
Stop! What are you doing? That's Cooper!
Oh man, I can't. I am pretty sure because I heard somewhere that because we watched Jurassic World Rebirth and we did record that, and maybe that video will come out in the future. Who knows? But I'm pretty sure the first guy to die in that movie is Cooper's actor. I heard somewhere that it was the same actor, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Damn, they killed Cooper twice." Damn.
no, it wasn't that they killed Cooper twice. It was Snickers that killed Cooper.
Oh, it was both
Let-
times actually, because
it-
because Cooper actually had a Snickers on him, and that's why the Spinosaurus came after him.
he actually didn't intend to shoot the Spinosaurus. He actually was fumbling around with a Snickers bar, and the Snickers just happened to land on the trigger of the Barrett 50 cal he was carrying
Oh my
in
god.
JP3, and it went off. And then a stray round went off and hit the Spinosaurus, and that's how that started.
Oh
So he
my
could have
god.
actually survived. But
Oh.
just here, you're not you when you're hungry, especially when you're fucking either Snicker wrapper or bar uh, causes a malfunction for your equipment. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get into more about the Snickers thing when we get to that movie.
Oh
And
yeah.
folks, I have a whole ass fucking rant about
Oh
that.
yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah. But
yeah,
before we get to the abysmal dog shit, let's talk about absolute cinema, Philip. You know, the Oscar-winning movie Jurassic Park and the novel that it was based
yes,
on, both written by Michael Crichton.
the books, fantastic. I've read both, and I know Liam, you've read both as well, right?
I read Jurassic Park. I technically read like the first chapter, what could be considered the first chapter of The Lost World. Just get a little taste. So I haven't
God.
read the whole book, but from what I understand, the movie bars no resemblance to the book.
Yeah, what? Yeah, like it is a shock. I mean, there are themes there that are technically like transferred over, but very much different ideas
Yeah,
on
that's gonna be your field of expertise when we talk about the Lost World. Is what was in the book that is not
yeah,
in the movie.
yeah, but we'll get there. And then
Yeah.
Jurassic Park 3 is kind of on its own, but it's still a pretty good it's a damn good movie even without a novel to like pair up with it.
Hmm.
So yeah, Jurassic Park, the very first Jurassic Park. Let's cover like general points of the movie maybe first, and then we can talk about like the differences and similarities with the book. So Jurassic Park, if you haven't seen it before, which you should, it's basically where a rich guy is trying to create an amusement park for dinosaurs. And this comes at a time in the 1980s, 1990s, in the real world, where genetic engineering is becoming a very big thing. Like, we're basically like mapping the entire human genome. We're using like genetic science to improve animals and crops, and like, and in
Hmm.
this sense, we're they're recreating life that was once extinct, right? A guy named John Hammond is like, I'm gonna take that idea, all the like, gonna fund all this genetic research and recreate dinosaurs for an eventual like profit scheme, more or less. And he wants expert paleontologists, investors, I guess just like general, like, I forget what, like, I know like Ian Malcolm is very much like a, what
He's
would
a.
you consider him as,
I
like,
mean, he labels himself as a chaotician, but he's more of a mathematician. He's just the
right, that's
more
right, yeah,
philosophical type. Um,
yeah,
you could definitely see like as you watch the movie where his input would be necessary in terms of like
yeah,
control
a critic.
groups, a critic, control
um
groups, how to maintain the dinosaurs, if it's a good idea, a bad idea. You only stop to think if you could, but you never stop to think if you should.
Yeah, yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Chaos theory, which is his big fucking thing, and we'll touch on that in a moment.
Hmm.
But basically John Hammond's like, show up to my fucking island. Let's it's not it's listen, it's adjacent to Epstein's island. I
Oh
promise
my
you
gosh, Philip, I can only imagine the scene where he's in the camper at the dig site, and he pops the champagne open. And he just goes, "Go to my fucking island."
What the hell do you think you're doing in here? Hey, we were saving that.
Show up to my fucking island.
Wait, excuse me, Mr. Hammond. I want you to go to my fucking island. Now, come on, let's go.
Listen, I got Stephen Hawking there. Donald Trump's there too.
Oh
You
my
know, it's
gosh. Oh my
uh,
gosh, Philip. Episode's canceled. No, I'm joking.
yeah. So basically, he brings them to this island, and off the coast of Puerto Rico,
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. Sorry, not Puerto Rico. It's part of the. Is it Five Islands of Death? Is the island chain that they're a part of?
I
But
think it was because wasn't yeah, because wasn't it in the Lost World that the Spanish speaking uh boat guy was talking to the group, and he called the
yeah,
island like Dios Muertos or something like that.
something like that. But specifically, the island they go to is
Oh yeah, it
Isla.
was the five deaths. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, yeah. But specifically, the island that they're going to is Isla Nublar. So they arrive on the island. At first, like this island isn't necessarily ready yet, like for tourist attraction. They have, they got their infrastructure being built up. Oh, I almost forgot. There is a prelude to the beginning of this movie where there's a bunch of construction people and like this looks like a African safari guy, which will be later you'll know him as like Muldoon, right? And
Yeah.
they've got like this little cage that they're about to put into a port, right? And the thing doesn't lock properly, and one of the workers gets attacked by whatever creatures inside this container, and that kind of just is foreshadowing for just like the things that could go on at this island.
Mm.
But yeah, they show up to the island. The island's not ready for just like tourist attractions yet, but John Hammond is like, here's the main attraction. He's showing off these dinosaurs. He's like, yeah, we have Brachiosauruses, Stegosaurus, Triceratops, and we even have a T Rex, which is like probably going to be their biggest like breadwinner.
Yeah.
And the after kind of seeing like the main attraction, they're going through some more of the like the more specifics of like the what goes on behind the scenes. Like they get to see where like the dinosaurs are bred and genetically modified and created, and all the while, they're almost not necessarily not impressed, but like John Hammond isn't expecting the reaction that they give. They're questioning him. They're like especially Ian Malcolm, who is the critic, who is like, as Liam said earlier, just like, it's like, did you stop to think that you actually should have done this? Like life will find a way, or the chaos theory, which is just simply like even the smallest little like effect will have a much more like bigger ramification.
Look.
Well, that's the butterfly effect.
Yeah. Look.
But
Look. 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 Look, Philip. Look. Condor's on the verge of extinction.
Condors. Condors are on the verge of extinction. And if I was to if I was to create a flock of condors on this island, you wouldn't have anything to say.
No, dinosaurs. We need it. We'll just
That
genetically modify the
if
condors to come back. We don't need to
if
worry about them anymore.
if I made an island just to save the condor population, would you stop me? Condors
Yeah,
on the verge of extinction.
verge of extinction. Yeah,
I bring all three of you people to try to help me, and the only help I'm getting from is the blood-sucking lawyer.
I don't believe it. You're meant to come down here and defend me against these characters, and the only one I've got on my side is the blood-sucking lawyer.
Thank you.
like the lawyer who actually showed up in representation of the investors for Hammond's little project because of
Yeah,
like the worker got hurt earlier. So he's kind of like
yeah.
just there to appease the investors more or less. And like
Yeah.
the lawyer's definitely like he's seeing these things. He's like, dude, we can make so much fucking money.
Yeah. And
Doesn't matter what.
yeah, the whole
Yeah,
time the lawyer's like, I could shut you down for this, blah blah blah. And then at the dinner scene, he's like, we could do free coupon day. And then he's talking about like, the prices that like parks like Disney World have now, where it's like over hundreds of dollars to even spend like 2 days there. And Hammond's like, no, no,
right.
no, 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 no. I want people to come here like for free. Or like
You
at a
know,
low price. He's like, I want everybody from around the world to come and see the attractions that I have here because everybody's deserving of it. Which is like, oh damn, man, I wish we had billionaires like that in the real world. Goddamn.
right. I definitely think that's an interesting take on John Hammond because he is so much different in the fucking
In
the
the
book.
book,
But
yeah.
we'll get there. So as like he's being questioned and whatnot, they also like get a scene where like raptor eggs are beginning to hatch, and like they start to question us like so. Like, what do you do when males and females mate? Like, is this like, do you just steal the eggs or whatever and bring them in here? It's like, oh no, 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 we inject, I think like it was like ostrich eggs with like the DNA sequence of like or unfertile they use unfertilized ostrich eggs to like implant the embryos of the dinosaurs, and then they hatch into whatever they create, and they're all supposed to be genetically female, so there's no like mating or anything like that in the park, or unauthorized mating in the park, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
um and this is where they go to like this is where like the part of the movie where they go to see the raptors at the like after this point, and like you
Yeah.
actually get to see just like these creatures in the flesh and like what their intelligence is, because like Muldoon, this is where we get to see the big African game hunter slash guide, whatever. He basically watches over the animals, and he's just like, yeah, these fucking like raptors are super fucking smart. Like they we may have thought they're dumb lizards, but these guys are like hyper intelligent. They hunt they hunt in packs, and they never strike the fence when they try to like attack the fence in the
They
same place.
remember.
He said, yeah, they remember. It's just like a very like interesting thing to think about. It's like we may not know what they were like when they like the original dinosaurs were, but like this is like a little window into like actually beginning to realize that maybe we weren't the like first real intelligent like creatures on this planet, at
Mm-hmm.
least that give pops that idea in there. And anyway, as the movie goes on, they're like, let's do a tour through the act. Let's like do another tour through the park, right? Let's go see the Rex. And about this time is when John Hammond is surprised with his granddaughter and grandson showing up on the island,
Yep.
and like they just add kids in here because like it makes sense. I mean, there's actually another reason of why the kids are there, because like the parents are going through a divorce or like troubling in their marriage or whatever, and this is just a way to get them out of the house and away from all that shit.
Yeah.
But John Hammond also points out that like this is also another big focus group, that there will be children here, so it's got to be entertaining for children too, and so why not have his grandchildren be people witnessing it? So they do a whole thing where they go to the park. We get to learn a little bit more about chaos theory through Ian Malcolm. There is a storm approaching the Isla Nublar. Like it's a hurricane coming in, and like they're worried about it, but they're like, listen, like we'll get through the park. They'll like get back in time. We'll all just kind of hunker down for the storm. Um,
Mm.
Now I forgot to mention another really important like B plot to this movie. In this world of genetic engineering and like the potential of how much money someone could make from this, there's a lot of almost corporate espionage going on, and that and Engine, which is the or well, Engine is what is the genetic engineering group that's working with John Hammond to create the dinosaurs. Now there's a competing company called Biosynth that
Mm.
has kind of picked up on the radar that they've made dinosaurs. They want a slice of that pie. And so, but Biosynth agent contacts one of the workers. He's a
Dachshund.
coder.
Dachshund.
Dotson.
We got Dachshund
Dotson.
here. See,
We
nobody
got
cares.
Dotson.
Dodgson! Dodgson! We've got Dodgson here!
Nobody cares.
See, nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, he contacts Dennis Nedry, aka Wayne Knight, our boy from frickin' Space Jam is here.
Yep, yep. Who is for the purpose of the film? He's the coder or the person who's setting up all the
Yeah.
electronical and computer
He
systems
yeah,
in Jurassic Park.
he basically has like one of the most important jobs in the park, which almost makes him like the best type of person you could probably get to like do the corporate espionage where it's like this guy controls everything on the island. I could use him. And it turns out that he's a greedy fat fuck. So it's like, well,
Yeah,
can you really trust him? Well, apparently you can, because you entice him with a big bag full of money, and he's giddy like a freaking fat fourth grader about to get his second helping of lunch. So there you go.
yeah.
Viable embryo, that's 1.5 million if you get all 15 species mentalized.
It's very interesting the difference in the book. I didn't realize how big of like a role that Dennis Nedry actually played in the Jurassic Park setup. When I read the book, I'm like, oh my god, he literally has control over every fucking thing when it comes to computers
Yeah.
at the park. You know, but yeah, he very much plays a very important role. But anyway, basically, what Dotson, the representative from Biosynth, is asking of Dennis Nedry to do is to take this special canister of shaving cream, and that has been modified to hold like basically dinosaur DNA, and it's like supposed to like stay good for like I think it's like 48, 72 hours, something like that. And
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah,
basically steal dinosaur DNA
yeah,
for
keep
Biosynth.
keep that in mind, everybody. Keep that in mind that that shit is supposed to last for 72 hours. Now,
There's enough coolant inside for 36 hours.
No menthol?
The embryos have to be back here in San Jose by then.
not to interrupt, Philip, but I must address something in relation to the spray can and the embryos because there's been a lot of new content since Jurassic Park the game came out. And part of the Jurassic Park the game story is a group of characters are there to retrieve that dinosaur DNA from Nedry as like a backup plan, right?
Yeah.
However, Jurassic World Dominion establishes that they acquired the shaving cream and the embryos at some point in time. Now, whether or not that's connected to the game, I haven't watched the gameplay of the game in years, so I'm not all too familiar with the story. But Jurassic World Dominion does establish that Dachshund did eventually come into ownership of
Possession.
a possession of that spray can.
Mm. By
Could
magic.
could be
By
that the
magic, yes.
yeah, it could be that the embryos did freaking die off anyway, or that they died off and he just still has it as like yes, remember the time I tried corporate espionage at Jurassic Park and almost tried to steal dinosaur DNA? Ah yes, what good times.
And that also plays in kind of to the downfall of Jurassic Park. Dennis Nedry's plan is to more or less send he disguises it as like rebooting the system, which would allow all the security cameras and all the locks to be disengaged and turn off for like a minute or so, more or less, enough
Yeah,
time for him to get to the cryo chamber to grab the DNA and store it away, and then quickly drive off to the dock, which is where the like he's basically gonna catch the last ship out
yeah,
back to mainland Costa Rica to drop off the embryos and collect his cash and then get the
yeah.
fuck out of there.
And in the
Um,
game, that's where Nima Cruz and her team are waiting for him.
Yep. And so and it's just unfortunately that a hurricane is about to like show the fuck up, which kind of like throws a wrench into all these plans and honestly makes it a lot worse for everybody else. So let's speed some things up a little bit. Back to the little park ride that like everybody, all the characters are in. Ellie Sadler jumps out because she sees something off in the bushes, which, you know, if we're on an island of dinosaurs and we see something, I feel like we should stay in the safety of said vehicle, but who gives a fuck, right? Anyway, so basically, there's a Triceratops that is sick, and we actually get to meet a character that plays an important role for a adjacent piece of media for Jurassic Park, Dr. Harding, who is who's attending to this sick Triceratops, trying to figure out like why it's getting sick because this isn't like the first account of that, and I keep want to say Sarah Harding. We'll get there. We'll get there. God damn it. Ellie is trying to help figure out like why it's sick. Maybe it's the berries that they're eating,
There's
possibly.
no
Um,
lilac berries.
there's lilac berries here.
That is one big
Um,
pile of shit.
That is one big pile of shit.
yeah.
Us watching
Uh,
Jurassic World Rebirth.
that's a big.
That is
That's a
one
big
big.
fucking bird.
It's a big fucking bird.
That's a big fucking bird. That is one big fucking pile of shit.
No
Oh,
shit. Just replace Ian Malcolm with with,
Hellboy.
with Hellboy from the Cooking Man. Um, yeah, Ella stays with Harding. The storm's starting to roll in. They need to keep rolling with
The
the park ride
program, yeah.
and all this shit.
And
And
then
eventually, the storm hits, and
Nedry, yeah.
Nedry has already started his like little scheme, so it reboots the system, but it doesn't come back online, so it permanently stops the car ride. While John Hammond, Muldoon, and what's his fucking name, Mr. Arnold,
Yeah.
who is played by fucking Samuel Jackson.
Also, reminder before we skip over it, the only thing in the park that wasn't shut down was the raptor enclosure.
Right, right, that is true.
Yeah,
Uh,
and even him, it's like, why would he turn all the other ones off? Which is like, that's a good question. Why would he
that is
turn
a
off
good,
any of the other ones?
yeah. Basically everybody on the ride is stuck right next to the T Rex enclosure, and the power is out. And well, they haven't seen the T Rex yet, and it's kind of disappointing. But under the cover of the storm, the T Rex checks the line, and the line's not electrified. And the T Rex is like, "Well, time for my grand entrance, motherfuckers." Rips the fucking electrical lines and steps in between the cars.
But wait,
Uh,
let me have a snack real quick. Let me eat this goat real quick.
well, yeah, let's eat this goat. Oh, is there a man in the toilet? Oh boy. Oh, well, no. Yeah, the lawyer
Well,
gets eaten. The kids get traumatized. Ian Malcolm almost dies, and why did I almost call him Tom Hanks? Alan Grant.
Topics.
And I just kept running from that dinosaur.
Make sure to keep still. His vision is based on movement.
A T Rex is just like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Also, the freaking T Rex intro is peak
Yeah,
cinema.
it's
Boy, do I hate being right all the time.
iconic, especially with its yell. And also, something that's really great about this movie is while it does have CGI in it, uh, there's a lot of practical props
Yeah,
used in this movie. Which, if
it's a harmonious mix of CGI and practical effects.
and even to this day, it holds up pretty well, like the CGI. I mean, it's definitely wonky looking on some points, but
Yeah,
it's still pretty passable and enjoyable. So yeah, kids get traumatized. Poor little Timmy gets pushed off with the car into a tree, over the edge, which apparently, like the T Rex enclosure, also has like a ledge
yeah. Somehow,
somehow. I've seen posts explaining that, but like we're not gonna get too in
yeah.
depth with that.
I'm sorry. Like, it's stupid. I've always questioned that as a kid. I have always questioned why there's a random fucking ledge right there. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. When the T Rex was walking
Right.
around and there was the goat and there was all this forestry behind it and then random ledge.
Right.
This movie's like pretty flawless for the most part, but that is like, nah, I'm not excusing that. I will always question why there's a random ass ledge there.
Skipping it a little bit, Ellie gets back to the little command center where John Hammond, Muldoon, and
I
fucking
like how you call him
uh,
Maldoon.
Muldoon. I'm sorry, I fuck up his name.
Malk.
I fuck up so many. And Arnold are all like witnessing, like we're trying to get the system back online, basically. And Muldoon and Ellie are like, "Listen, we'll go out there and physically go get them." And they're like, "All right, everybody else into the panic room." Meanwhile, during the storm, Nedry, already has the embryos and is trying to race down to the docks because he's on a time limit, basically. Gets lost along the way, gets his Jeep stuck, but he sees the way to the dock, but he has to use the tow winch on his Jeep to unstuck himself. Unfortunately, he encounters a Dilophosaur, which this is where like some of the genetic science and the depictions of like how we knew what dinosaurs looked like at that time. Like, is it true or not that the Dilophosaur actually spits venom,
Um,
or was
so
that just like
so 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 if I remember correctly, the Dilophosaurus is my state's dinosaur. The Dilophosaurus in reality is like as big as what a Deinonychus is, which a Deinonychus is. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but that's basically what the raptors in the movie are based on. So
Deinonychus?
so Dilophosauruses are friggin' huge, and no, they do not spit venom, and no, they do not have frills because the structure of their skull does not have any of the indicators for the ability to launch frills like that, which there is a species of lizards that do have those frills. The Dilophosaurus does not. What is the same about that dinosaur's design, though, is the head shape and the crest,
The head crest.
the head
Yeah.
crest on its nostril. That is basically the similarities. That's where they end. The Dilophosaurus is a big dinosaur and definitely something to be feared. But yeah, it does not have any of the frills and it does not shoot fucking venom out from wherever the fuck it shoots venom from.
I guess if you are to look at this at like the world of Jurassic Park and like its like lore, I guess you could take it either two ways. One, this is a genetic, like it's a genetic
It's an abomination for an amusement park ride.
abomination. Yes. Or like simply this is like parts of like reptile, like real quick, basically how they recreated like dinosaurs is that they had to take like they obviously had like DNA, the most of the DNA strand for the dinosaurs, but they had to like more or less like pick and choose like blocks of
Yeah.
other living creatures to fill in the gaps where they
We
didn't
gotta
have
fill the
the
code, says Mr. DNA, as we throw in bullfrog DNA.
right.
African bullfrogs, wasn't it, that was used to make the dinosaurs asexual because the freaking those frogs can change their sexes if need be, which is like
They literally turned
one of the
they literally turned the
reasons.
frogs gay.
Yeah, yeah, which is like one of the reasons why life finds a way on the island is that the dinosaurs
Yeah.
freaking are channeling into their frog shit and
Right,
uh you know also I because we're almost an hour in and we need to talk about the rest of the movies and the books and blah blah
right, right.
blah. Just to mention it now, there is this neat part of the book pertaining to like the population of the island where Malcolm is just like, what if you just refreshed the page and they find out that their population numbers have like doubled and they're like, hey,
Yeah,
wait a minute, that's not right.
yeah. We'll get to that point in the book.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but basically, yeah, it's genetic manipulation, and this is kind of like if you think about it, this is probably like the early signs of just like the fuckery, like genetic mutants that we would later see in like later films, basically. But yeah, Dennis Nedry gets his shit fucked. You know, he gets devoured, and it's a
Mhm.
lot worse in the book. It's pretty
Oh
tame in the
yeah.
guy in the
Oh,
movie, but yeah, it's pretty bad.
both are horrifying on
Yes,
their own levels, but the book, oh, oh my god.
yeah,
Like if I remember correctly, doesn't because the Dilophosaurus in the book is still able to inject a venom from its teeth, if I remember correctly. I remember Nedry getting
that's not.
paralyzed and falling to the ground and basically just unable to do anything as the Dilophosaurus is ready to just bite his head off.
Yeah, no, that's not necessarily. I think that's just more of like his body, like getting ready to like just give up. Like it's like that
Okay.
final moment before you die, that
Okay.
euphoria. You might be thinking of the compies because they're thinking their saliva or whatever. It has like a kind of like a
Maybe.
joyful feeling. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Still terrifying.
again, to speed it up, let's see. Ellie and Muldoon go out to find the cars and find out that like the T-Rex enclosure has been compromised and both cars are all fucked up or missing.
They
They find
find
Ian
Yeah, they
Malcolm.
find Malcolm. They get the fuck out of there.
They're chased by the T-Rex. Switching back to Grant and the kids, they're on a basically they're trying to get back to
Visitor center.
the visitor center, and along the way they encounter like different types of dinosaurs. But a very key point of this trek back to the visitor center, they find dinosaur eggs, which cues in Grant that there is like unauthorized mating happening within the park. That it's like like dinosaurs are fucking each other.
Yeah.
Um, and they're specifically raptor eggs.
Hmm.
Um, Eventually, we cut back to Ian, Hammond, Arnold, Muldoon, and Ellie all together. And Arnold's like, "Listen, the only way to like he resets the system, but he needs to reboot the power to get the electricity back in the
Yeah.
park." So he heads out to the power shed on his own. He's like, "It's gonna give me give me like 15 minutes top, right?" Now, Arnold doesn't return. And so Ellie's like, "Don't worry, I'll go check up on him." Well, and Muldoon goes with her.
Muldoon
And
goes,
they
and then
realize,
she's like, "I'm coming too." I remember
right,
that. And unlike in the
and
book where he loads up with a fucking bazooka, he just
yeah,
goes out with a shotgun.
a Spaz 12. They have
Yeah,
Spaz
they got
12. They don't
Spaz
have.
12s.
Yeah, that's a big difference that we'll get into. They had rocket launchers to deal with the dinosaurs in the books, kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, but eventually they make it outside and realize that the raptor enclosure has been compromised and raptors are about now, like adult raptors. And Muldoon's like, we're being hunted. You go to the power shed. I'll deal with this." Well, that doesn't really end well for Muldoon. He doesn't even get a single kill in. The raptors outsmart him, flank him, and then eat him alive. So Muldoon's out for the count. Now Ellie makes it to the power shed. She's fumbling around. She eventually gets the power back on, and well, Lord behold, there's a raptor in there, and a hand kind of like hits her in the shoulder, and she's like, "Oh, thank God, Arnold!" And then she turns around. Well, it's just Arnold's severed arm. Arnold's been eaten alive by the raptors.
Hmm.
And Meanwhile, when the power comes back on, Alan and the kids are climbing an electric fence to get closer to the visitor center. Well, poor little Timmy didn't get off the power line when the fucking power came back on and it volted his ass and shocked him. Now he
10K
survived.
volts.
Don't worry. Say that again.
10K volts.
10K volts. That little boy lit up like a Christmas tree, but somehow survived. So he was a little bit of a crispy bacon and probably maybe a little bit retarded afterwards, but he's okay. Eventually, Grant and the kids make it back. Ellie and him are just like a hug, but the threat is still not over with the power being back on. One, we still have a T-Rex somewhere roaming the park. Two, the Raptors are still about, and while Grant and Ellie are, fucking hugging and kissing it out, basically, the kids are eating snacks in the cafeteria, and little Timmy's like sees the shadow of a velociraptor hunting them. And we get this scene where they're like being hunted in the kitchen, and they lock one of the raptors in
In the
the
freezer.
freezer.
Yeah.
And I guess they had the other one knocked out for a moment or whatever
Yeah.
to escape. And eventually they get back to the control room. Now, even though the power has been reset, none of the locks have been re-engaged. And so we get a tense moment where the girl, I forget her fucking name, and like even in the books, I hate this fucking girl.
Oh yeah, she's like
She is the
she's not the
biggest
greatest in the
whiny.
book. Yeah.
No, and like she's okay. She's somewhat okay in the movies, but let me tell you here, folks, you will if you're gonna hate one character, it's gonna be this fucking whiny ass bitch. I was honestly every page I was turning, I was hoping that she'd get eaten by a fucking dinosaur or get hit by a car.
Lex.
That's Lex. Yeah, I was hoping that bitch got ran over every time, every page. Um,
Man, I wish the T-Rex ate her in the raft chapter.
it's that for
I wish the
fucking
Pteranodons
real.
ate her in the aviary chapter.
Yep, 100%. Anyway, basically Lex is, I guess, like computer savvy and figures out how to re-engage the locks. They get re-engaged. Still, the raptor's pursuing. It just smashes through the glass of the room, and like they get chased into the main visitor center, and they think they're about to be eaten by these two raptors, but no, 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 no. The star of the show comes up. It's the T-Rex. Yay! It's the unsung hero of this film. It eats the raptors and attacks them, and then
Strikes a cool
meanwhile, I guess
pose as the banner falls.
yeah, and they run out the front of the center and meet up with Hammond and Ian Malcolm, and they drive to like the helipad, and they jump on the helicopter, and the end. That's the first movie. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's a very like short version of it, but
Short.
you get the idea.
Short!
Yeah, short as an hour. So I guess let's just go over the book quickly and like the main differences, because like while there are quite a few differences in the book comparatively to the actual movie, more or less the story beats are kind of the same, except the ending is a lot different in the book compared to the movie adaptation.
Mhm.
I guess like talking more about the characters specifically, Dennis, we get a little bit more on Dennis Nedry. He's actually a fucking like super wizard with computers. Like he's been like before he started working with John Hammond, he like worked for some of like the bigger companies and I think even the US military for a little while as like he is the computer engineer that anybody and everybody wants. And so that's why he's here. And so like it kind of gave me more in depth about Dennis Nedry other than being a fat piece of shit. Which was like, kind of cool, kind of interesting. What else? John Hammond. The definitely you think he's like a cool grandpa who's rich in the movies. Oh dude, that's all a fucking facade. He is a asshole.
Oh
And like
yeah.
especially
Bless you.
when thank you. Especially when he starts like everything's kind of going awry and like his mask starts to slip. He actually doesn't really give a fuck about his grandkids. He's
Oh
just like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, my like daughter just dropped them on me here. I don't even like fucking kids. Like the only reason they're here is because their fucking mom is like going through a bad divorce and they don't know where to fucking send them. Fuck these kids, basically.
Grandpa, can we go to your
Um,
bungalow? No.
no. Who else is there that's like a really big
But yeah, like, we could go on and on about Book Hammond, but he really
right.
does get his comeuppance by the end of the day when he gets eaten by a
Yeah,
bunch of fucking compies.
right. Obviously, like, so how everything like starts, it's like we really get a lot of context that like there's something that's going on in Costa Rica. Like basically like these little lizards are showing up, which would be later found out to be compies, right? And like it's starting to get people suspicious that like is this like just an undiscovered like lizard that's happening? But it's it's like
They eat a baby.
oh my god, yes. We'll get there in a sec.
At the
We'll
very
talk.
start of the book, it's like, yeah, baby gets eaten. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yeah, so like let's save like the very gruesome scenes to their own little category. Let's just get through like the
Okay,
story, I guess.
okay.
Like basically it's starting to like gain traction that there's something going on down in Costa Rica that like undiscovered lizards that may have been a survivor of like, the dinosaur age, right? And so that's kind of sparking people's interest. But John Hammond's like, you know what? Come on down. I'll show you what I'm working on, right? And it's kind of follows the same plot points of just like gathering all these people up to like get their opinion on what's going on here and whatnot. And again, it follows the same story beats where the electricity goes out. Dennis Nedry's doing his shit for biosynth. They handle it a lot better than what the movie depicts. First, they get the electricity back on. They didn't send anybody off the island. Like construction crews and the personnel that actually work on the island repair lines, get dinosaurs back into pens, and just
Oh
getting
yeah,
the park back up and running.
yeah.
And the only really big thing that's the issue is just hunt, at least at this point in the book, is hunting down the Rex and getting it back into its paddock. Meanwhile, the Rex is basically tailing Alan and the kids. And like I feel bad for Alan and the kids because they have a much more treacherous fucking path to go. Because what the book doesn't depict on the island, there is an aviary where like
Oh,
pterodactyls
you
and
mean the
shit.
movie?
The movie, sorry,
Yeah.
yes. There's an aviary actually on the island, and poor Grant actually while it is an aviary on the park, it actually has been abandoned and kind of left to like do its own devices because like they couldn't really control the pterodactyls because they were so fucking hostile to construction workers. And poor old Grant and the kids have to go through that
Oh yeah.
to get back to the
Doesn't like Tim get like brutally like beaten up by a bunch of them at one point?
I think it's like yeah, they basically pick him up and try to like they try to fight over him to eat him
Yeah.
basically. Which Tim does survive that, but that
Yeah.
poor kid gets such traumatized. Like not only being hunted by a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but also being hunted down by by that shit. Basically, they end up getting. I'm pretty sure the T-Rex back into its enclosure, but a much bigger threat actually than the T-Rex shows up, which is the Velociraptors, and they're like, oh, there's only like 8 of them, right? No. Ian Malcolm, which you brought up earlier, is like, hey, refresh your data because Ian Malcolm is the guy. He's like the Velma of the group. He's figuring out all the.
Yeah.
He's like putting the pieces together, and he's like, you say you have like 100 fucking copies, right? Well, but how can you have 100 copies, right? All accounted for, but we have like 50 of them that have made it to like the mainland or Costa Rica, right? Let's update this. Like, let's refresh this page. And they're like, okay, wait a minute. Why are there more copies showing up on this like data sheet that's tracking these dinosaurs? Hey,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Yeah, and then
There's more than
yeah, and then it's
sorry.
like well, then it's like if I had the book on hand, I'd probably try to like flip to the page that has all the graphs, which is like, oh my gosh, Philip, I love it when books have like actual graphs and
Oh yeah,
graphics and shit in them, especially like these science fiction hardcover books. It's really cool, but it's like,
as
yeah,
as do I.
yeah. There's more of these. There's more of these, and I think like half the dinosaurs on this list aren't even in the movie. And it's like, yeah, there's
Yeah,
more of these. There's more of these. There's just basically more of everything, and it's just like,
yeah.
how, how the fuck, how did that happen? What's going on?
So like this plays more into the unauthorized breeding that's happening in the park, and the two main fucking dinosaur groups that are mostly doing it is the compies and unfortunately the fucking velociraptors. And oh yeah, I almost forgot. This is another big fucking plot point. So during the time when the kids and Alan are trying to get back to the headquarters, I think it's Lex that spies like the last ship that's being
Oh
sent
yeah,
out.
I was just thinking that. Aren't
And
there raptors on the ship?
yeah, they she basically sees like juvenile raptors on this tanker
Mm-hmm.
that is heading for mainland Costa Rica. Now, compies have already made it to the mainland, right? But like the compies, really, they're no bigger than like probably like halfway up to your shin, right? Yes, if they bite you, it kind of fucking sucks and you kind of hallucinate, right? And like, but if they're on their own, right? If it's not a big pack, it's not that big of a deal.
But they usually move in
However,
herds.
yeah, however, velociraptors getting to the mainland and beginning to establish a population in the Costa Rican jungle, that's a big fucking problem. And so like I think it's it's like it takes like 12 hours or something to get from Isla Nublar to the mainland or some shit like that. And so it's like while you're reading, it kind of updates how many like hours until like the ship arrives, and they're like it like the kids and Alan are trying to get back to HQ so they can radio to the tanker to say, "Hey, there's fucking dinosaurs on your tanker. You need
Dude,
to turn that shit around."
it's not too dissimilar. What I'm guessing, like what the tanker looked like by the end of the story, would it be too dissimilar to what the ship at the end of the Lost World looked like? If
Yeah,
you remember,
that's
there
what
was
I meant.
like blood and detached hands, and it's like, how did this happen when how did the T Rex break out and do all of this?
I honestly think that was probably just like where they couldn't fit that plot line into the first book, the first movie. They just kind of like attached it to Lost World, so like reusing content that they couldn't add. I think that's probably
Maybe.
what that is.
Maybe, which
But
plenty
anyway,
of the movies do afterwards. Like it's like, oh my god, look, they did this. Like in Jurassic Park 3, they reused the aviary part of the book, and then in Jurassic World Rebirth, they did the whole raft part with the T Rex. Yeah,
right, yeah. Eventually, they make it back to the HQ, and they're like, "Oh shit, we gotta go." Basically, Alan Grant's like, "Oh wait, no, oh, that's right. They're in like the hotel or motel or whatever. Like they're
yeah,
basically like Ian, Ellie, Muldoon,
and
and
Hammond
Hammond are all stuck in like a room because they're being attacked by like
rap.
velociraptors.
Yeah, I
And
remember that. And like Malcolm's in bed the whole time, spouting paragraph after paragraph to Hammond about how the park was always going to be a failure.
yeah, so basically they have to. I think this is before they turn on like the power that's around the like they've turned back on the power, but they haven't turned it all the way back on. And so like it's up to Alan to turn it back on before the fucking velociraptors bite through the rest of the bars that are on the windows. And eventually they get it back up and like the fucking it zaps them, right? And so they eventually get back together. They kill the velociraptors that are more or less surrounding the general area, and they figure out that there are more velociraptors because Alan did find one nest, and so he's like, "Listen, this is where like the movie does not add this. there are like 2 or 3 nests that Alan devises that is on the island, and so it just becomes like a giant like hunt for these nests. They destroy 2 of them and eventually find a third one hidden in like a kind of like a cave or whatever. It's like the largest nest. And I forget, I think it's like they've already radioed for help, basically. And then they're observing the raptors, right? And this is when Alan takes a very, very important observation. All the raptors go out of the cave and they form this like some type of pattern, right? And like it's because they sense that a ship is coming in and this is their way to get off the island. So it's like a migration pattern. And this is when Alan puts it two to two together. It's like this is true proof that dinosaurs, like you could see how dinosaurs acted with, like basically like how modern birds
Yeah.
interact in migration
Yeah.
patterns and how similar it is to how dinosaurs were. So it's basically
Yeah.
just confirming information that they could only theorize on. And then before Alan could finish his fucking thought, I'm pretty sure jets come in and bomb the fuck out of the
Yeah.
dinosaur.
I was literally waiting to talk about how the Costa Rican government just starts bombing the fuck out of the island as they're trying to leave.
That's something that they very much omitted from the movies
Yeah.
is that like they like Hammond was smart. He bought rocket launchers first of all to deal with the dinosaurs. No fucking small arms bullshit. He literally bought fucking rocket
Spare no
launchers
expense,
because
bitch.
they lots of scenes where they're just comically blowing up fucking velociraptors. And then after, like, by the way, Muldoon survives this. Muldoon does survive in the book
Muldoon,
canonically.
yeah, Muldoon survives, and then it's like Malcolm's is technically up in the air. Like the book doesn't confirm nor deny if he dies. And
Right. Yeah.
yeah, so Malcolm living is actually an invention of the movie.
Yeah. And yeah. Um. And so basically, how it tidies itself up is that Isla Nublar is just basically firebombed, and all the dinosaurs that were on the tanker before it reached to Costa Rica were all dispatched. Now, there's probably still like some like compies running around Costa Rica, but moral of the story, Costa Rica was just like, ha, blow those bitches up, dinosaurs be gone, and just firebomb the entire island. Before we move on, though, we'll quickly cover the very gruesome ways that people have died in
Yeah.
the book. So, it is, there's some pretty scary moments in the movie where like people are getting eaten and devoured and fucked up, especially like the Dennis Nedgery scene. That's probably the most prolific one in the movie,
Uh-huh.
and maybe even Maldude's scene where he gets like mauled by a raptor. But Liam, we touched on this earlier. What's basically in the first chapter involving compies?
Baby gets eaten.
Yeah, literally this. Sorry, you go ahead. You can
just
describe it.
just it's literally like, it was a dark and stormy night, and a lady finds a fucking baby's face eaten and torn apart.
Yeah, so how
Yeah.
it describes it is
And
like this baby is being checked on by a nurse, and like in Costa Rica, they have like it's pretty hot and humid, and so they leave windows open, right? And this woman opens the door, and from the light that's behind, it's a dark room, but the light from behind her from opening the door reveals these 3 lizards just crouching over the crib of the baby, and the light reveals that they have just like plucked out the eyes and ripped the fucking like eating the
yeah.
skin of the
Yeah.
baby's face. And this is one report. There have been multiple accounts of these compies eating babies in the Costa Rican government. Um and even before this scene, there was a worker that came from the island and is
Uh,
just like a giant tear from the top of his fucking chest
yeah.
all the way down to his stomach that like is just
Yeah.
completely ripped open and torn open. So it's
I
taking the
was
scene of where that worker got eaten by the raptor in the movie, but in a much more gruesome uh,
yeah.
scene. book.
I was just about to bring that up because it was like I forgot about that detail that you brought up, but that did happen. But the part I remembered is how they covered it up by saying it was just like a labor accident. They like, oh,
Oh
he
yeah,
tripped and fell on some scaffolding or something like that. But, like there were
yeah, like
incidents like that on the park from what I remember, but that was probably like part of the cover where it's like, there's no dinosaurs here. What are you talking about?
yeah, like they said it was like a power equipment type of like accident, but like the doctors smelled bullshit. One, because this was not a power equipment accident that he's ever seen. Like how they got like he could tell that this was an animal attack of some kind. He even found like mysterious saliva or mucus on the wound, which is very common with like animal attacks, but he couldn't identify. And they were just like, "Shut the fuck up, just do something for him." And another really horrifying scene is the Dennis Nedgery scene. Yeah, so it kind of plays out the same way where he's trying to get back to his truck. A moment he is sprayed with this type of just like acid slash mucus, and immediately his eyes get puffy and like his skin just feels really itchy, disorients him. And the next moment, he feels like this just slight discomfort in his abdomen, and he looks down and just sees his guts beginning to spill out.
Mm-hmm.
And he tries to crawl back to his vehicle, but he knows he's already dying. Like, I mean, like he doesn't. Well, he starts to get woozy, and basically he begins to like he looks up and sees the
The
Dilophosaur,
Alphasaurs. Yeah.
yeah, hovering above him. And like in his final moments, he doesn't feel pain. He just simply feels his body letting go. But unfortunately, in his final moments, he feels the teeth of the Dilophosaur just like kind of picking his head up a little bit, and then immediately crushes it. So it's a pretty horrific scene to be written. And his body is not found until like the next day by Muldoon. And what's even worse is Compy's pick through his carcass when Muldoon eventually finds his corpse. Uh, do you
Yeah.
want to describe what happens to old
Oh,
John Hammond?
John, yeah. I will, but at the same time, I'm like, man, all I remember about the lawyer is that the T Rex ate him, and that was about it. I don't remember any of the details for the T Rex eating
Yeah,
the lawyer. But
I
from
think it plays out the same way that the
yeah,
movie happened.
from what I remember of John is that he like he had something with him. He had something of like value or importance. And John has this like private bungalow near like the hotel or the visitor center or whatever. And he's trying to go there. But motherfucker trips and falls down a cliff, ends up falling into a ditch, and compies come over and just start picking at him and start eating him. So evil old billionaire Rothschild gets freaking eaten by his own creation.
Yeah, so a little caveat to like this scene is that this embankment, like to a regular person, could be easily scaled, right? But him being like an 80-some-year-old cripple of a man who uses a cane could not make it up himself. And he laid there for a little while yelling for help, but no one came. And he is a very asshole. And this is a very like just kind of like ending for this asshole of a man.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other caveat is that compies in their saliva, or I guess maybe venom, is that it makes like the a chemical reaction in humans that make you feel a dopamine, maybe like it makes you feel happy and almost like a high kind of feeling, so you don't actually know you're getting eaten or feeling
It
pain.
kind of like numbs you a bit, right?
Yeah, it numbs you, and eventually like it doesn't necessarily kill you, it just more or less like paralyzes you through like sensation, and then the compies just devour you.
Yeah.
And like I think the scene is like his like they're biting his ear, and then they bite his nose off, and then eventually they just swarm him and kill him. So
Yeah.
John Hammond did not survive on the helicopter into the second movie.
Yeah. Before we move on to Lost World, I do want to like talk about like one of my favorite scenes in the Jurassic Park movie, and that is the it's late at night and John's in the dining room and he has all of this ice cream around him because I think at this point in the movie he's he's kind of like not really coming to terms with it yet, but he's kind of he's going through like the many stages of grief, right? And he's kind
Right.
of accepting that the park is failing, but he still doesn't want to believe it yet. And now he's like, well, I got to eat all this ice cream because who else will? I mean, I don't want it to go to waste. And Ellie joins him, and he he talks to her about why he made the park, and he's like, back in Scotland, I used to run this flea circus, and the children would be like, "Oh, mother, can you see the fleas? Can you look at the fleas?" And then he's like, "Well, the truth of the circus was that it was all a lie. Like there were never any fleas, and it was all just a big lie, a big facade." And then he's like, "Well, what I wanted to do with the park was I wanted to make something real, to make something attainable that children will love to see and to actually like grasp and touch, like to bring the dinosaurs of the past to life." Like his ambitions were like very noble, and it's like you can understand where he came from and almost pity him a little bit. And but John is like, it didn't work, but we can do it again, which almost shows the delusion in him, where it's like, well, you had a good idea, and I kind of sympathize or pity you, but at the same time, it just hasn't worked, John, and you need to realize that it's not gonna work again.
Right.
And that's when like when Ellie tells him that, he has that moment where he like fully accepts that his dream, like the billions of dollars that he invested into this project, is like, yeah, it was kind of worth it, but there's no hope in doing something like Jurassic Park again. That Malcolm was right and John was wrong. And now it's just like, well, I guess the only thing we can do is just rectify the situation and do the best we can. And it's just one of my little favorite moments of the movie. I'll probably throw it up on screen because it's really good. Copyright be damned.
You know the first attraction I ever built when I came down from Scotland? It's a flea circus, Petticoat Lane. Really quite wonderful. We had a wee trapeze and a carousel and a seesaw. They all move, motorized, of course, but people would say they could see the fleas. Oh, I can see the fleas, Mummy, can't you see the fleas? Clown fleas and high wire fleas and fleas on parade. But with this place, I wanted to show them something that wasn't an illusion. Something that was real. Something that they could see and touch. A name not devoid of merit.
But you can't think through this one, John. You have to feel it.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Hiring Nedry was a mistake. That's obvious. We're over-dependent on automation. I can see that now. Now, the next time, everything's correctable.
John.
Creation is an act of sheer will. Next time, it'll be flawless.
It's still the flea circus. It's all an illusion.
When we have control again.
You never had control. That's the illusion. I was overwhelmed by the power of this place. But I made a mistake too. I didn't have enough respect for that power, and it's out now. The only thing that matters now are the people we love. Alan and Lex and Tim. John, they're out there where people are dying.
just quickly before we move on to the Lost World, there is actually a game that kind of is like a almost like a C plot or kind of like an extra to
Yeah,
this layer of stories. It is a Telltale game for Jurassic Park that follows Dr. Harding and his daughter and
Jessica,
um,
not Sarah, Jessica.
Jessica Harding. The mercenaries that were supposed to, and also a group of mercenaries that was also supposed to meet up with
Nedry, yeah.
Dennis Nedry. And is it a park worker or is she?
Oh yeah, there is a
Is there some
doctor there. I saw her in the character list.
right?
Real quick. Dr. Sorkin.
Gotcha, Doctor Sorkin. I'll definitely fucking remember forget that name. But basically, this is almost like I don't know if you've ever played Resident Evil. Oh, what is it called? Survivors.
I love
But
the dichotomy. Jurassic Park the game. Oh cool. Now I don't know if you ever played Resident Evil.
Resident Evil. But basically, it's just kind of like there's multiple, like, you know how there's multiple games based in Raccoon City during the events of the Raccoon City outbreak. Well,
I guess
kind
so.
of consider this. This is kind of like the C plot that's going on behind the scenes, which does add a lot of depth to the story, yes, and also kind of reveals a lot more of like the genetic manipulation that was going on with the dinosaurs as well, and which is also kind of like the main villain to the story as well. But you've played this game, right?
Nope.
No.
I watched
Okay. Well,
gameplay of
I
it on
haven't.
YouTube, and
I I
my,
also watched gameplay.
my brother in Christ, I am not spending $120 on a PS3 copy of this game.
Yeah, sorry, folks. If you want us to like play it, send it to Liam, so he can play it as like
Yes,
a let's play or some shit like
please,
that.
please. I hope because there's a group of people that remastered Poker Night: The Inventory, which was also a Telltale game, and then
Yeah,
Tales of the Borderlands is still available on Steam because I think
yeah.
Gearbox now owns it, which is cool. If there's anybody out there who starts to like picking off all of the freaking Telltale games and remastering them, please remaster Jurassic Park the game. It's so good. Please. There's a compilation of the death scenes on YouTube. It's hilarious. Please. Also, the game, real quick, the game features a lot of dinosaurs that I think weren't mentioned in the book and weren't mentioned in the movie, but you have like a mosasaurus enclosure, and then you have those like dinosaurs with the white eyes that serve as like the main antagonistic dinosaurs of the game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about because I don't think those are actual like those dinosaurs. Like, okay, let me restart. So basically,
Let me look it
this
up
is
anyway
just
while you're
like
talking about it.
this is basically just like the like kind of to give it more in depth of what was going on the island alongside of like the events of like what we got in the book and what we got in the movie. Like you got, like I said, Dr. Harding, the mercenaries, the other doctor, Dr. Harding's Jessica Harding, his daughter, and they are just simply trying to get off the island. The mercenaries are also trying to find Dennis Nedgery, but also collect, but more importantly, collect the DNA or the embryo of the dinosaurs, which they do get. Um, but also eventually, everybody's just trying to get off the island. Now, night has fallen, and you know there is some dinosaur afoot that even the velociraptors are scared of, and as Liam had described, the main antagonist
The
is
Trudon.
the Trudon, these like night stalking type carnivore raptor looking things. Are these an actual dinosaur or were these a
From
genetic?
they do exist.
They do exist. Okay, I was gonna say the bit like a big point of this was like the genetic manipulation because I thought this was like a genetically like dinosaur that
Trudon
Doctor
from Trudon formosus, found in Montana. It includes at least one species.
Gotcha. Okay.
Interesting.
Um,
Continue.
I thought I was under the context that this was like an experiment by Doctor Wu, which I forgot to mention. Doctor Wu is like kind of like the main head scientist that like is heading all this genetic
Yeah.
manipulation. By the way, I forgot to mention Dr. Wu does die in the book. He also dies through his like arrogance. Anyway, uh
Yeah.
yeah, so
So
basically it's them trying to get off the island with the embryos, and the mercenaries die. Harding and his daughter get off the island. I think the other doctor also gets off the island, and somehow or some way the embryos also get off the island one way or another.
yeah.
But that's just like a quick overview of like what's going on. But if you have
Yeah.
any more points to add to it, you can add it now before we move on to the
Yeah.
Lost World.
The game is definitely a Telltale game. I can tell you that. It's got the Telltale art style. Especially, yeah, when did this game come out? 2011. Holy shit. Uh November 15th, 2011. Oh, I feel old. But it has an interesting cast of characters, some of which you'll come to love. Like I forget the name, but paired I think there's like another mercenary group on the island that's separate from Nima, because Nima's working with Biosyn, and then there's another one that has a freaking big dude with a black beard, if you remember that character,
Oh
Philip.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. I
then the two
remember.
of them have like a knife fight in a helicopter.
Yeah, I totally fucking forgot though of like exactly um who he works for, but yeah.
Yeah. But if any of you still have this game, uh hold on to it. Please. I know it's worth a lot of money, but it's like it's not worth it. But yeah, from my memory, it was good. It's a good game. Apparently it was available on the iPad too.
Mhm.
Damn. But yeah, Jurassic Park the game.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. Look up some gameplay of it. There's like I said, there's like a death compilation that's like over like 1 million views or something. Um,
It is pretty hilarious.
yeah, but yeah, Philip, I know that we did like a huge story recap, but I don't think we're gonna have like time to do story recaps for the rest. So,
Uh,
how do you wanna talk about the rest of the movies? Because we got like six left.
fuck. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to speed run this. So basically, like everybody for the second movie, they figure out that there was a separate island where all the dinosaurs were truly bred, and then delivered to Isla Sorna or Jurassic Park, like the amusement. So there's another island called Isla
Sorna.
Sorna, and so there's this big giant arms race from InGen, who is still the owner of said island, and they're like, "Hey, we want to protect the animals on this island, and so we need like video proof that that they're living peacefully on this island, and so no humans should be able to touch it." But Biosynth is like, "Fuck that!"
Wait,
Or well, no,
no, no, no,
no,
no,
no, no, no.
no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was Hammond who's like, I need the proof. Here, do you want me to do the Lost World?
Yeah, you do the Lost World. You go
Okay,
ahead,
my
speed run
turn.
that. Bitch.
My turn. Okay, Lost World. What he said. Whole island. This is where they made the dinosaurs. John Hammond basically calls up Ian Malcolm and is like, hey, bitch, I need you to go to the island with a bunch of these hooligans that I decided to hire who have some big cars and shit. And I need you to basically document about these animals and say, leave the island the fuck alone. But oh, you know what? My freaking capitalist of a nephew decided that he's
Yeah,
going to take over my company because apparently I can't be trusted with it, and he wants to basically make a Jurassic Park in San Diego and take the dinosaurs from that island and basically put it in San Diego. You need to stop that shit. So Malcolm meets up with these dudes, and for it's probably explained in the movie, but his daughter, his estranged African American daughter, which the movie explains that basically Malcolm is a huge womanizer, has probably slept around with a ton of women, and
yeah,
basically has all these estranged children because it's fucking yeah. Anyway, so she's on the ride. They go to the island, the five deaths, blah blah blah, And then apparently, old flame of his, Sarah Harding, beautiful redhead, is on the island documenting the dinosaurs already. In fact, that's the whole reason why Malcolm goes anyway, because Hammond's like, yo, I already sent her ass to the island, and Malcolm's like, oh, okay, guess I'll have to go. Turns out that InGen is already on the island trying to do their operations and has a bunch of characters that aren't in the book, but one of them is the coolest, Roland, who's played by a guy who was in Alien 3. Cool character. I wish there was more of him. They're basically doing their shit, trying to wrangle up all the dinosaurs, trying to wrangle up a couple of Pachycephalosauruses, and Roland's there to just get the male T-Rex, the buck. Where and when you set up the camp, I don't fucking care. Just leave me alone, okay? Okay. So apparently they decided to wound the baby T-Rex to try to track the T-Rexes, and then Sarah finds the baby T-Rex, decides to take it back to their base camp, and the T-Rexes decide to fuck their shit up. Also, bald guy who shows them the hide gets freaking torn in half by the T-Rexes, and their freaking station wagon goes off the cliff, but Malcolm, Sarah, and what's-her-face get saved by InGen. It's like, well, I guess we gotta work together now, and they do work together, and all of InGen's guys just get killed off one by one by one by one by one. There's also another character who's part of the good guys who you really don't care about, but he's here, and they basically start going through the island, so you get to see all these cool different things. One of the guys who only speaks Spanish, really, gets freaking mauled to death by a bunch of compies, and you get to see his blood in the river, so that's cool. Their base camp gets attacked by a T-Rex, and it leads to this really cool scene where What's-Her-Face and Sarah are basically trying to hide all their snacks from the freaking T-Rex. It's like, what you got in here? Tasty.
Yeah.
And then, and then everybody runs into the tall grass, and what's his face is like, don't run into the tall grass, but everybody runs into the tall grass, and the velociraptors freaking kill everybody in the tall grass. And now they try to run all the way to what could be considered to be, I guess, like the visitor center of the island, where freaking helicopters come and he's like, hey, buddy, we're coming to pick you up. What's her face? Black girl. Kicks around a bunch of velociraptors, which a lot of people consider to be really fucking stupid and shitty, but I really don't care. They get off the island, but InGen's like, well, we wrangled up at least one of the dinosaurs, so I guess, well, actually, we wrangled up two of the dinosaurs. We got the baby Rex and the male, so I guess we're going to take them to the mainland. And then Ian Malcolm and Sarah Harding decide to become dinosaur activists and try to protest this. But oh, looky here, freaking Titanic about to come in, crash into the dock, and the freaking male T-Rex decides to break the fuck out and go on a rampage on the mainland. And because he's trying to look for his baby, eats a dog along the way, which fuck that shit. And and a bunch of Japanese people are like, I kid you not, Philip. The Japanese people say in Japanese, I left Tokyo because of this, as a reference to Godzilla.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And Malcolm and Sarah find the baby at the Jurassic Park site in San Diego, take that shit all the way back to the boat, and Mr. Capitalist Man is on the boat, and Daddy Rex is like, hey son, make me proud, eat this man. And the baby does that, and both Malcolm and Sarah are like, let's send their ass back to the island. So the ship goes back to the island, and they're living their life, kumbaya, and John Hammond's like, leave the island the fuck alone, please. And that's the lost world.
So let me speed run the book real quick. So basically, almost none of that shit actually happens in the book. So the book is like the Ian Malcolm turns out to have survived the events of the first book, and so and there's a total media blackout of like what actually happened on the Costa Rica island. Like there's rumors, but Alan, Ellie, and Ian do not talk shit about what happened on the fucking the island. But there's this hotshot fucking kid who's just like drives around a Ferrari in like a school zone going like fucking 70 miles per hour. He's like 18 years old or whatever. Honestly, I think he's like an OC if I had to describe him. Like he's just like he's like hearing reports of basically like abnormal blobs like showing up or blobs showing up washing up on the Costa Rican shore. Costa Rica government is basically burning these corpses and whatnot, but he's tracked down Ian Malcolm and he's trying to like coerce Ian Malcolm into like, hey, there might be another island with dinosaurs on it, and I think you were on that island. And Ian Malcolm's like, no, I really wasn't on that island, blah blah blah. And also the other
like, you've heard of Alan Graham, right? Never met the guy.
Never met the guy. Don't know who Ellie is either. I don't know who the fuck these people are. And also side plot, Biosynth is trying to get their hands on like dinosaur DNA again because they couldn't get their fucking hands on it from the Dennis Nedgery, and Dotson shows the fuck back up again, and he's the guy who's going to lead the Biosynth team, which actually is only fucking 3 people that they're going to send to this island. I honestly really fucking forget why Ian Malcolm in the first place got convinced by. Oh fuck! What did I just Levine? Yeah, Levine. I forgot his name for a second. Anyway, but they go to the island, right? And now there's a couple points there that are like the same. They get on the boat. The boat driver's just like they're no, we don't go too close to the island. They have like the little convoy fucking thing. They have the high. The biggest thing about this entire fucking thing is like so what we learned from the first book is that there's the lysine contingency. So like the animals have to rely specifically on a protein called lysine, which keeps them alive. And without human intervention and supplementation into their food, the dinosaurs would die. However, this has been proven differently because this island of dinosaurs has been left untouched for a certain amount of years, right? By this time, by theory, if the lysine contingency was actually active, then all these dinosaurs shouldn't exist. But there's some reason that these dinosaurs exist. And there's a part like some of the scenes with like the baby T-Rex, and they gotta like heal them because basically the biosynth guys, Dotson is just like, I want some dino eggs so we can like, capture embryos or whatever, right? They try to steal T-Rex eggs, but they wound the baby. Ian Malcolm and fucking Sarah Harding try to fix up the baby. Again, that whole scene where you see in the movie is exactly the same. There's the black girl, whatever her fucking name was.
Wait,
And Ian Malcolm
she's in the book?
she is in the book.
Oh, okay.
Ian Malcolm gets very wounded from the whole fucking like basically the van getting tipped over and whatnot. There's a scene where they encounter carnivores, which actually have active camouflage, like chameleon-like ability, and it's pretty scary. And Ian Malcolm, again, you know how like Ian Malcolm has that scene with like John Hammond talking so much shit while he's like going in and out of consciousness. He has that same thing of like he's thinking about like, wait a minute, why are the dinosaurs still alive with like the lysine contingency? And then the big reveal of why they're still alive in this ecosystem is that the herbivores are eating lysine rich plants, and when they get killed or die, the carnivores eat the herbivores, and therefore they're getting their supplement of lysine by eating the herbivores that are ingesting the lysine rich plants. And so the ecosystem is extremely balanced and okay. And well, Dotson probably has the worst death scene. Basically, like it's the same fucking way that nephew of John Hammond dies, where the T-Rexes basically wound him, and then the fucking T-Rex baby just eats the fuck out of him, and then they just leave, and that's it. It's just like dinosaurs. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
cooler in the book when I read it, but I honestly kind of like the movie version more than the fucking book because I don't know. I think there's more cooler action in the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the book, everybody.
And just to tell everybody, the whole reason why we even got The Lost World in the first place is because Spielberg was like, "Hey Crichton, I want to make another one. Write another book." And Crichton didn't want to write another book, but Spielberg pressured him so much that he was like, "You know what? Fine, fuck you," and wrote The Lost World. And Spielberg was like, "Cool, cool. We're not gonna adapt 90% of this."
Yeah, and you could definitely tell it in Michael Crichton's fucking writing that he did not care for this book at all or want to write this book.
Really?
Yeah, you can tell it like in the quality of like the first book comparatively to the second one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can't wait. But now we're in the land of fan fiction.
Yep.
Jurassic Park 3 and the Jurassic World movies. What? Now, Philip, I know that you and I are definitely more positive leaning on Jurassic Park 3, probably because we grew up with it.
Yeah.
It is a little stinky, but it's not as stinky as what we got afterwards, which is like Now, I thought about this the other day. Philip, the Jurassic World movies is basically the Star Wars sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I
Because
I agree.
Jurassic World is like The Force Awakens, where it doesn't exactly copy one to one A New Hope, but it definitely it takes elements from the first movie and tries to recreate it into its own thing. Where it's like, oh, we're back on Isla Nublar. We got a new park. Everything goes to shit because everybody's a dumbass. And why did we give a freaking dinosaur active camouflage? Actually not chameleon like camouflage. It literally turns fucking invisible. It's stupid.
Right.
And then there's Fallen Kingdom, which is like the divisive middle movie that everybody just fucking hates. And except for like one scene, which is where the Brachiosaurus dies. Which, by the way, I had to hug both of my sisters when we watched it in the theater because they were bawling their eyes out. And I'm not gonna lie, every time I see that scene, I cry too. It,
Oh yeah.
It is such a tearjerker. It is so horrible, and everybody's like, "Why would you do that?" Then there's Dominion, which is the Rise of Skywalker of the trilogy, and it is
Oh my God.
it is nostalgia baiting dog shit. And then there's Jurassic World Rebirth, which compared to the rest of the movies is like it's a little better, but it's still abysmal dog shit.
Mm,
So here's what I'm thinking. We'll talk about Jurassic Park 3, and then we'll talk about all the world movies together.
sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So oh, Jurassic Park 3. Do you want me to do the story recap for Jurassic Park 3?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, Jurassic Park 3. Da-da-da-da-da-da. A couple of years have passed. It is now 2001. Alan Grant and Ellie Sadler are not married and not settled down with kids for some fucking reason, because apparently it couldn't get worked out, but they still get giddy giddy over dinosaurs because, that's just their shit. Grant is
Oh, hold
also
on. I don't mean to interrupt, but this kind of made me think when you said that, like, Ellie and Alan didn't get together, but like they still have a great relationship. Do you think that just Alan is the cuck? Or like the husband of Ellie is just the like because they have like a weird they almost have like a weird relationship because fucking Alan like and Ellie probably banged at least once, but then they still have like a real weird close
they
relationship.
look, all I'm saying is it's not canon. Anyway,
The polycule.
anyway, anyway, Grant has a new dig site. He also gives a presentation at this college where he's like, yeah. If you have any questions about Jurassic Park, I'm not gonna answer them. Also, if you have questions about Site B, I'm not gonna answer them because I wasn't fucking there. If you have any questions about
Uh,
Ian Malcolm, I'm not gonna answer them either. Blah blah blah. There's no way I'm gonna be able to get on the island. Cut to a new dig site. We meet this young guy that Grant is working with. Completely irrelevant. Doesn't show up in any of the later movies, but he's pretty alright. They basically have this new dig site, and they use 3D printing technology to print out a fucking Velociraptor's vocal chamber, which would have made a fantastic toy, but there were no toys of it. And it's like, oh, guess what this could do? Makes a noise. And then Paul Kirby of Kirby Enterprises, Pink and Tile Plus, shows up and he's like, hey, what's up? I want to know if you could take us over the island. And Grant is like, bro, I got no association with this island. And then Kirby takes out his checkbook and Grant is like, tell me more. And so they go they go out to dinner and we meet the Kirbys, Paul and his wife, and they're like, bro, we just want to go over the island, just be a little tour guide for us. And he's like, oh, you know what, fine, whatever, as long as I get paid. And we also get introduced to Udesky and his team. And his team basically just blow up something with an anti-material rifle from Fallout New Vegas because they're cool like that. So we then cut to the plane and they're flying over Isla Nublar and then Grant is like, I'm having this bad dream, and there's a velociraptor that goes, Alan, and he wakes up, and it's like, oh, are we there yet? And yes, they're on the island now. That goes dun 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 dun, dun as they're flying over a herd of herbivores, and then they're like, oh, let's land on the island, and Grant is like, no, 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 we're not landing on this island, so he gets knocked the fuck out, and then he wakes up, and then you hear Ben, and then as the Spinosaurus gets fucking pissed off, and Alan Grant is like, no, 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 it's not T-Rex, sounds bigger. So they all get back in the plane, and just about everybody gets back in the plane except for Cooper. Cooper doesn't get back in the plane. Instead, the plane starts running. The guy's like, you know I can't stop this plane. And then the Spinosaurus picks him up, and the guy rams into the freaking Spinosaurus, and blood fucking flies all over the plane. And they crash into a freaking tree. And the Spinosaurus is like, let me play around with this shit for a bit. Black guy, he dies. He gets freaking bitten, and then gets stomped on by the Spinosaurus. Out of the story now. However, Udesky is still alive because we love Udesky. We love Derek Jeter. May he rest in peace. And
yeah.
then
Also, just also the moment where you mentioned that like they kind of like basically hit the Spinosaurus with the plane a little bit. It is also theorized that is why the Spinosaurus is hunting him, is because it wounded them.
That would make
a
sense.
Bit. Yeah.
So they're trying to run away, and Grant is like, all right, cool, this is pretty fine. Then he like opens up a bunch of grass, and there's a corpse, and the T-Rex, which is probably Rexy, the baby from the freaking second movie. That's like one of the biggest fan theories. And freaking Grant's like, nobody move a muscle. And then freaking Rexy's like, yo, what's up? And then they run away, and then Rexy goes after them, and then the Spinosaurus is like, I'm the new king of town, snaps his neck. And then freaking Grant punches Kirby in the face and is like, okay, what's the real reason why we're here? Oh, our son and his stepdad were freaking flying over the island, and then they got lost, and we're basically trying to find them now. And Grant's like, you son of a bitch. I'm not getting paid for this, am I? And he's basically like, not really, because we basically run a bathroom fixers company. And Grant's like, you fucking, okay. But eventually, some shit happens. Udesky dies. Grant gets split up from the group, but he eventually finds the kid. T-Rex piss, and then, and then and then at one point they reunite with each other, and then they're like, "Oh, you know what, Dad? I heard that you freaking stupid ass jingle from the store." And he's like, "What? I know on my phone." And then freaking Spinosaurus in the back, and then Spinosaurus is like, "Yo, what's up, bitches?" And he runs after them. The Spinosaurus is able to break through a freaking electric fence, which doesn't have any power, like at full freaking speed, and then apparently can't break through a door that's only being reinforced by an iron lock. Spinosaurus, ladies and gentlemen. But then we get to the freaking aviary enclosure where the Pteranodons are like, let me fuck around with y'all, and then freaking dude who stole a bunch of Velociraptor eggs earlier, and Grant's like, you are a fucking piece of shit. I hope you fucking die. Does not end up dying, but definitely gets picked apart by fucking Pteranodons. But the Kirbys and Grant basically get to a boat, and then the Spinosaurus is like, hey, I found you, Jaws time, freaking fucks them up, and then freaking Paul Kirby out here, the fucking legend he is, lights up the freaking lake on fire and is on this freaking crane machine, basically dueling the Spinosaurus because my bro's a legend.
Literally was just like, witness me.
Yeah, witness me. Grant's also on the phone trying to call freaking Ellie, and then fucking dimpy ass kid is watching Barney, and it's basically like, call the U.S. military. So as they're trying to get back to the coast, Velociraptors who were just, here. Also, yeah, I'm sorry for skipping over the part where they're in the freaking building looking at all the Velociraptor shit, whatever. They're here and they're like, we want our eggs back. And Grant's like, okay, sure, have the eggs back. And then they go to the beach, and then there's like just a dude there. He's like, yo, what's up? I'm here. Here's U.S. military, fucking aircraft carriers and shit coming out of here. And then they get on a helicopter, and Grant's protege is like, yo, what's up? I lived, bitch. And then they fly away, and they go, dun, 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 dun. Oh, that's Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
And then the Pteranodons are flying away to the mainland, so that's another problem we have to deal with. Dun, 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 dun. And that was the last Jurassic Park movie for like 14 years.
Yeah, and then we got dog shit afterwards.
But before we do this, let's talk about Jurassic Park 3, because it's a personal favorite.
It is a very personal favorite. I think it's just so great because like the Spinosaurus really be the fucking main show, you know what I mean? And it has some like very iconic stances and scene, especially like specifically when Alan Grant and the Kirby's kid and the Kirby parents re-meet at the fucking thing, and then you hear the fucking that shit will always give me like PTSD anytime I hear that shit.
It's just standing there like
like it's crazy. It's crazy to think they didn't hear that fucking thing like approach. You know what I mean? But
It's
yeah,
such a
like that
fucking menace. I absolutely love it.
when you're like when your dad's sitting down at the couch at 11 p.m. or no, you're trying to turn the PS2 on or whatever late at night, and then you hear the you look right and you slowly turn around. There's your dad with his belt saying, "Turn the game off, turn the game off."
Turn the game off.
But yeah, that's pretty iconic. Also, the meme that like started our friendship, basically.
It's
Um,
Cooper! You know I can't stop this plane, please! Please! I can't wait to meet him one day.
Me too. What else do I like about that movie? I don't know. I just think the dinosaurs are pretty cool. I like the velociraptors in that with their like little like quills that they have on some like you can obviously differentiate between the males and the females and they're just like really nice detail. I also like the boat scene. That was pretty fucking cool. You know, it would have been super fucking cool, like when the Coast Guard or like the military shows up on the beach. Wouldn't it have been fucking cool to see fucking like I don't know tanks versus like the Spinosaurus in the final scene or some shit?
Okay, I think that would have been a little too overboard, I won't lie.
I know. Actually, you know what the original like ending was supposed to be for that is that like Alan was supposed to see the remnants of like the boat in the when the Kirby's son and there's his stepdad like that boat like he was actually supposed to see the wreckage of it on the beach and then he would realize that like the tears and stuff in the roof of it were actually caused by the pterodactyls and like the helicopter that comes to pick him up was supposed to be attacked by fucking the pterodactyls that we see in the final scenes flying away.
Forgive Philip for calling them pterodactyls instead of pteranodons.
Whatever. I'm a simple dinosaur guy, all right? Oh, y'all can fight me in the fucking comments if you want me to. At least it'll give us a great engagement.
But that's crazy how it was supposed to end like that. Like Jesus Christ. I'm
Yeah,
kind of glad that they went with the ending that they went with. Like happy ending, good conclusion, like the fucking end.
right.
I am kind of glad that we didn't get like what the fourth one was planned to be, like with the freaking human dinosaur hybrids.
Oh,
As
yeah,
cool as an idea that is, it's like that deserves to be like its own thing, not something in Jurassic Park.
right. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh,
Speaking of which, let us now talk about the Jurassic World movies all together in one little package because Philip, I got my own little history with Jurassic World. You know, I was little autistic me, loves dinosaurs, waited so long for Jurassic Park 4. Everybody waited so long for a fourth movie cuz you know, there's still stories to be had. Isla Sorna still has more dinosaurs to be found. There's more to be told, and we still have these characters that can reunite and tell another story. Or maybe just maybe do a reboot and adapt the book more accurately. But we eventually got Jurassic World in, I think it was 2015, wasn't it?
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, let me look it up real quick. Yeah, 2015. I always thought this movie came out in 2014. I think that's because I associated with the Lego movie, which also had Chris Pratt in it. I watched every single one, with the exception of Rebirth. I watched every Jurassic World movie in theaters. I watched the first one with my brother Alex, whom we will have on hopefully in the next episode, but we'll get to that later. Yeah, I watched in the theater with him, which was kind of funny because there's a older brother little brother dynamic in that film.
Oh yeah.
With the older brother being an asshole and the little brother being the goofy dinosaur loving kid, which was like, oh great, they captured us perfectly. And then I saw Fallen Kingdom in the theaters with the whole family when my grandparents visited during the summer that year. I think we saw it for my sister's birthday, and that was quite the movie.
Yeah.
because all the marketing for that movie was basically like the destruction of the island. And it's like the park has come to an end. We need to get the dinosaurs off the island, which I think would have made a premise. Which I think the just the premise alone probably would have been really good. But no, that's like less than half of the movie, which is crazy to think about. Also, if we ever upload the Jurassic World Rebirth movie, I do say somewhere in that it's like it's never explained. Isla Sorna's never explained, but apparently, like an off the cuff, quick remark in the beginning of Fallen Kingdom, where, and I completely forgot about this. Ian Malcolm is in the beginning, which was like another thing that they marketed on was like, oh, we brought back Jeff Goldblum, Ian Malcolm, he's here. The sex symbol you all craze is back. And they basically just like say, "Oh yeah, all the dinosaurs from Isla Sorna were just taken off the island," which I think is absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
Because it's like John Hammond was like, "Leave the island the fuck alone," which yeah, I know that like realistically they would probably ignore those wishes, which evidently they did. And I think it's still stupid because Sorna was a pretty good place that you could make a bunch of stories off of. And I was like, well, why not just move the dinosaurs there? Nope.
Right.
Nope, because the people who take dinosaurs off the island in Fallen Kingdom were a bunch of capitalist pigs who want to sell them on the frickin' black market and auction them off. Which, I don't know how all of these dinosaurs escaping this one, like, auctioneer house facility manages to basically evolve into there's dinosaurs across the globe. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that
I
happened. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I could see that, like, if there were okay, correct me, they are not pterodactyls. What are they called?
Pteranodons.
Pteranodons, right? We see the pteranodons going or like flying elsewhere in the end of JP3. So like I could understand if there were like avian dinosaurs that have like established populations elsewhere in the world. Same with the compies, right? Because like that was in the books that like the compies have like you know made it off like to the mainland, right? I could understand that, right? But like the big ass dinosaurs like Allosaurus and Stegosaurus and shit, they somehow have swam across the goddamn fucking like because this was in where was the auction house at? It was in Europe, right?
It was on like the mainland of North America.
Oh, it was in North America. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
because if they were trying to get to Europe, they would have to pass through the Panama Canal and blah blah blah. And the auction house is in like North America, if I remember correctly. It was in like a redwood forest. Also, freaking Doctor Man from iRobot is the old guy of that movie. Where it's like, I knew John Hammond. That detective is the right question.
right. Do you remember the little fucking the little like teaser trailers or reg or whatever like little videos like where it was like people camping or
Oh
something,
yeah, I
right? And the
remember
fucking
that. Like the
pal
little short films that they put out where like I forgot what kind of dinosaur it was, but attacked like a camper.
I think it was at first like fucking triceratops or one of those triceratops looking dinosaurs,
Yeah,
right? With like the and then the Allosaurus showed up or whatever and
yeah,
like I think like someone had a crossbow or some bullshit, I don't know.
yeah. I remember that. I remember watching that, thinking it was cool. I,
Yeah.
I was a different person at the time.
Yeah, it was hyping me up for like the next movie and then the next movie showed up and then I'm just like infinitely
Oh,
disappointed.
Dominion. Dominion was. Oh God. Dominion was terrible. When I originally watched it, I
Yeah.
was like, "This is fantastic!" I literally applauded when freaking Ellie and Grant kissed because I was like, "It's about fucking time." I don't know why they freaking ruined that shit in Jurassic Park 3. Also, I now use my Jurassic World Dominion popcorn bucket as my trash can, which is very
Oh my
indicative to
god.
the quality of the movie.
Well, at least it has some purpose.
Yeah. I own this movie on 4K. I watched the director's cut. It doesn't add anything of value. All it adds is like this intro sequence for the Gigantosaurus. Like, remember when director Colin Trevorrow was like, the Gigantosaurus is like the Joker?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's a fucking dinosaur. Why are you hyping it up as like the main villain? No, it's not.
Right.
Also, missed opportunity for the T-Rex and the Spinosaurus to team up to fight that bitch.
Yeah.
I think somebody
Unfortunately.
made a 2D animation of it, and everybody was like, "This is what I wanted." I will admit, there were some parts in that movie that were pretty cool, like the Pyroraptor using like actual like pyro abilities to like melt through the ice and shit like that. The plane ride where the Quetzalcoatl attacks the plane and tears it apart. I thought was pretty cool. The brontosauruses living all the way up in like Alaska was
Yeah,
kind of
and
a neat
here
visual.
and
Oh,
again,
also
here is my Oh, okay, you finish.
also
Sorry.
a mosasaurus attacking. It was either the Time Bandit or the Wizard from Deadliest Catch. I was like, holy
Mm.
shit, Deadliest Catch in a Jurassic Park movie. Holy shit.
I know that shit's like that's wild as fuck. I know for like probably like Gen Alpha people, like they'll never get that fucking
they
reference, or
will
like
ne-
some like
they will
yeah,
never.
or some like younger Gen Zers probably never knew what fucking Deadliest Catch is, but like me and you who grew up
Yeah.
on that shit, we're like, oh
Oh,
yeah.
my mom watches that. That's how I know about it. Like, bro, I don't know what's with like these movies about like tying into shit my mom's watching at the time, but like my mom was like watching Jimmy Fallon on Hulu around the time of Jurassic World coming out, and
Uh,
Jimmy Fallon was in Jurassic World very briefly with like a cameo. I was like, okay. And then freaking the Time Bandit or the Wizards in Jurassic World Dominion, and I'm like, holy shit, Deadliest Catch.
yeah. So here's where my suspense is disbelief, right? It's like obviously it's a hotly debated like subject on like whether or not we should like preserve and like save these animals, right? Like that's been a big thing since basically like Lost World. But at this point when it is obvious that it's like in a way somewhat detrimental to like human life in some way, let's be honest with ourselves. The United States government would bomb the shit out of all these animals, like the Costa Rican government did with the first fucking book. Like, especially with the fucking mosasaur, which I'm surprised that fucking thing even lasted for like four fucking movies in the waters. Because, like, for a goddamn fucking fact, as soon as that shit even messed with one United States like Navy ship, they would have depth charged that shit out of the water. Because, like, you also got to think too, that thing is probably at some point thought that a submarine was a whale, which the mosasaur probably is eating a whale or two, right? And that thing probably thought it was a goddamn whale. So it probably attacked one of the. I don't know how much money it takes to build a submarine, but like
A
it's
lot.
probably a lot, right? And as the U.S. government, which it loves its military budget spending, I don't think is going to try to even would even play with the idea of even potentially losing one nuclear submarine to fucking a mosasaur. So they'd be bombing that shit out of the goddamn water.
Mm-hmm.
So like I just have to like be like I have to lose my suspense that like they would even like entertain the idea of these animals still like
Yeah.
roaming about. Like I could understand with like some of them like the non-mega sized animals, like I feel like any kind of like carnivores immediately gone. Any of the
Yeah.
very large ones like the brontosaurs or like the titanosaurs, they're just like I feel like those animals would probably devastate the environment with just how big they are,
Yeah.
how like how like destructive they could be to not only like human infrastructure but also the environmental impact they would have just to sustain themselves. So I feel like those would be out of the fucking picture.
Yeah, it's like Rebirth tries to course correct this with basically saying that dinosaurs past a certain point of the hemisphere is dying off, but like on these island chains they're thriving because of blah blah blah.
Right.
But it's like I'm sorry, but the damage is already dealt with. Like the both the scientific community and the U.S. government would almost be aligned with the idea that the dinosaurs would have a dramatic of impact on wildlife and the fauna and flora and that whole system, that whole natural system of things, and that they needed to go. Like there is no fucking way that even the United States government would let these dinosaurs like spread throughout the world. Like they would have been
Right.
eradicated quickly. Now, Philip, when we watched Rebirth, I mentioned a review from a long time ago that nobody can watch anymore because it was like unlisted or whatever by Belina
Right.
Productions, who's mostly known for like Sonic the Hedgehog animations, but he's a huge Jurassic Park fan. And when he did his retrospective video on the trilogy a long time ago, when he was talking about the Lost World, he said doing a movie where the dinosaurs come to the mainland is a terrible idea.
This scene is very cool, and it gives you that taste of Jurassic Park in the city. I know a lot of people out there want an entire movie like that, but I don't. This is just enough time for me. 15 minutes, and I'm satisfied. Bringing the dinosaurs to the mainland would make an awful movie, and we'll get to that later. I do not want it in a city. As mentioned before, I don't think an entire movie set on the mainland would work. I want to go back to Sorna or Nublar. You may say, well, that's been done to death. The fact is, if done right, it can be just as fun as the first two. Seeing the dinosaurs in the city would be awful due to only carnivores would thrive and get stardom. I love the herbivores as well, and I want to see them get the respect they deserve. I want to see the ruins of the original park. It's been a long time since we've had a Jurassic Park movie, and I'd love to have an adventure take place in the ruins of the original park. Some nostalgia never hurt.
And I really want him to do another retrospective video just to hear what he has to say about Fallen Kingdom and Dominion now that those movies are like the dinosaurs have come to the mainland. And it's like, well, I get what you're trying to do. Like, sure, it's cool to see dinosaurs walking around in the modern day, like freaking. Philip, do you know what Dino Dan is? The kids' TV show from like a decade ago.
Yes, I do.
Okay, it's like freaking Dino Dan. We got these freaking dinosaurs in the modern day walking around. But it's like realistically, those dinosaurs wouldn't last because the United States military would just freaking bomb the shit out of them. And I know that in the first Jurassic World that the US military was basically like investing money into velociraptor units. Like remember that shit?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
They're like we could use this where it's like yeah, I could see that happening, but at the same time allowing all these dinosaurs to basically thrive around North America and the US and basically cause not just environmental damage, but also urban and domestic damage to freaking cities and towns and all that shit. It's not worth it.
Right. And I just think that they just it at the end of the day, folks, it is just a soulish cash grab of another well beloved franchise that
Yeah.
they don't really. It's just a paycheck to them, and again that shit just irks me. You know, like it's like it should have just stayed dead, and it should have just stayed as it was.
Yeah.
But no, someone had to make a paycheck, I guess.
I mean, even like in retrospect, Jurassic World, like the very first movie, it isn't that bad. It definitely had like the opportunity to make like a good follow up, but it's like eh, just to pull another franchise. Like let's talk about Ghostbusters for real quick. Like you had the first movie, the
Right.
second movie, and then it took fucking forever to make a third one. And basically, Ghostbusters 3 was in development hell for like decades. And then Afterlife came out. And Afterlife, some people didn't like it, some people liked it. I really liked it. Jurassic World is kind of like Ghostbusters Afterlife, where it's like, okay, it's pretty all right. It's a neat follow up. But then the follow up, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire was a major disappointment. Where it's like, oh, is this where you're taking things? Is this good? Is this the fourth movie? Is this now profitable? But Universal knows that it can tap into the autistic market and basically make bank off of making more dinosaur movies because they're like, well, we know that these little autistic shitheads are gonna be begging their parents to go see the freaking dinosaur movie. So they know that they're gonna make $1 billion with every single one.
Right. Yeah. Well, dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs, Jurassic Park. I definitely wish that we had a bit more to say. I do. Bryce Dallas Howard is hot, and she's the best part of the Jurassic World movies. Anyway, uh, also we never get to see her freaking nephews ever again, which I think is crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't make it like a cameo later down the line at some point.
Yeah, it's like, what's Tim and Lex up to? What do they think about this shit?
They probably just fucking have unpronounced PTSD, and like
Yeah,
seeing the dinosaurs in America has like made them go insane and psychotic.
yeah. Oh, Rebirth. Oh, Rebirth. You wanna quickly talk about Rebirth? Because I know that we have that
Sure.
video that probably won't come out for a little while. But here.
Oh my.
Why don't you give your opinion on it first?
Okay, let me just make sure this is right. So like again, they are because we also I think I was paying more attention to just like enjoying of just talking shit on that movie than actually
Yeah.
remembering like than actually focusing fully on that fucking movie, but I'll try to remember. So the point of them going to collect
The di-
samples
the dinosaur
of
goo.
dinosaur like
The
of dinosaur
or
Jamba
the
Juice,
Jamba Juice as we called it is
yeah,
is
was
is
for
what,
like
Phillip? What did we think they were doing it for versus what they were
oh
actually doing it for?
so we originally like we were kind of like half paying attention again, like so you'll have to excuse us for not
Yeah.
like fully paying attention. But like it was like they showed a whole fucking slideshow of like dinosaurs are dying above this certain like latitude because of just environmental incompatibility and like disease and shit like
Mhm.
that. But the other ones on the islands are like doing fine, and we thought that they were trying to find out like a way to cure them of sickness and better to acclimatize them. And so by
Yeah.
doing that, they had to like extract DNA or blood from a mosasaur, fucking
From the
egg,
Quetzal and
the egg yolk from the Quetzal, and then fucking the Jamba Juice from what was the other dinosaur?
I don't remember.
Um, I don't remember either, but like it also is kind of wild to me that they had to like fucking get Jamba Juice from like three different animals
Yeah.
to make this serum
Yeah,
thing that we thought that originally was.
all of which Dr. Loomis, yes, Dr. Henry Loomis, not to be confused with Dr. Henry Loomis from the Halloween movies, basically pointed to each dinosaur that was in the museum that they were in, and coincidentally, that's all the dinosaurs that they have to collect the jumbo juice from to make a medicine
Yeah.
called paleodoxin. Paleodoxin, we got paleodoxin here. See, nobody cares, except if you have a heart condition.
And so that is what we found out. It's to make a was it a cure for the heart disease
Basically, it's
or
like cure all for like a specific heart condition. And
yeah,
it's basically the movie tries to make it like, oh, Scarlett Johansson's character only really cares about the money, and then they try to hold it over as like, well, this is a good cause to save people of their heart conditions. It's basically trying to make her feel like a better person, but they like
right,
mischaracterize her so bad, and it's like she, even though they have these moments in the movie with her and Blade, or supposed to be Blade, because they have a history with each other, and they have these like little heart to heart moments that you and I completely talked over and completely ignored.
yeah,
It's like I didn't really care for Zora, which yeah, I remember the name of her character. I really did not care for her. There really was no interesting or enticing characters in that movie. Even like the freaking rinky dink family that we get in the movie that joins the
Oh
freaking
my
military group.
god.
I You especially were like, I want to see them die. Like I didn't
Uh,
hate them that much, but at the same time, it's like
they
I really do not care.
they were so close to being on the same level as Lexi in the books. Like I was ready to see them fucking just
Yeah,
like be devoured and or die from a fucking just like falling off a cliff. It was insanity to me,
yeah.
and honestly added nothing to the fucking plot. They could have been there. They really could have not been there, and it would have ended up being the same fucking movie.
And even like the one character that I think like really like has anything interesting going with them, like barely is Loomis because he's the dinosaur guy and he's also like he briefly mentions that he was a student of Dr. Grant. And it's like, "Oh, so you have that connection to like the rest of the world, I guess." But everybody else is
Right.
like, "I really don't care." There's like nobody really has like an enticing personality that I can really attach to. Like with the original Jurassic Park, it's like Grant was almost like this stoic scientist who cares about dinosaurs but in his own way. And you get to see like his like childlike nature and love for the creatures come out of him when he's like right near freaking Brachiosaurus, and he's like, it's a dinosaur. And you get to see him get so excited when Hammond's like, we have a T Rex. And then when like he's freaking he has his whole body on top of a Triceratops. It's breathing, and he's like, oh my god, it's like an actual Triceratops. And he's listening to it breathe and shit. Malcolm has a very eccentric personality, and even though he's very like antagonistic towards the idea of the park, he's still like he basically explains his philosophy, and it's a very interesting philosophy, chaos theory, and he explains it in such a way that like anybody, like even a kid, could understand. Like it's like you understand that the way that the droplet moves like this is not going to move like this again. Observe. And then
Right.
Ellie is like the very impressionable young woman. Like her actress was like in her early 20s, by the way, when she did that movie. And she's very impressionable and very like a little happy, a little giddy, but then as the movie goes on, she becomes like a little hardened, a little heroic. And then Hammond is basically the freaking I got my head in the clouds. I had this vision I want to follow kind of guy. But then he sees that everything's crumbling around him. Like even like before they take off in the helicopter, he takes like one last moment to look at like his life's work. Like everything came down to this and it just didn't work out. And that's like basically the personalities of our leading characters in just the first movie. And like yeah, I would say like none of the movies have really lived up to that like level of writing or character writing, at least, because sometimes you just kind of get like, oh well, I guess Chris Pratt kind of delivers like a personality for his character Owen. It's kind of there, but everything else is just like the character work just completely falls flat. And I think that Rebirth is the worst contender, or like the best contender for the worst character writing. It's abysmal dog shit. Like I'm sorry, but this movie is not good. And I am color me shocked that I found out that this movie did not make $1 billion, but it did make $800 million, and it was the highest grossing movie of July of last year, which its competitors were Superman and Fantastic Four, which Superman made $600 million, and Fantastic Four made about 400 to $500 million, which is like,
Right.
damn. But it's and now they're like, "Oh, we're gonna Gareth Edwards and Scarlett Johansson are coming back for another one, which is supposed to start filming this year." And I'm like, "Why?
Don't even fucking tell me, because like honestly, you know what it would have even been better is like if they went with the original fucking idea of just like weird dinosaur human hybrids. I feel like that plot would have ended up being better than what we ended up getting now. Like, at least it would have been like an interesting take comparatively. Just like, oh yeah, we've kind of just like we've ran out of ideas for like dinosaurs, and like we even tried the like shtick of just like weird mutant like dinosaurs, like the
Yeah.
fucking retardosaurus that
I
we
was about
got
to say
in
the
the
Retardus Rex. Also, dumbest fucking dinosaur I have ever seen, and wasted. Wasted potential for that dinosaur. Like, it was like, oh, it's hyped up, it's got freaking toys and shit. It's supposed to be this cool
yeah.
thing. Shows up in the intro, and then shows up in the last 15 minutes. It basically kills Cooper, and then it freaking launches on a freaking helicopter, and then launches on Capitalist Man, and yeah, it's there. I guess it's a threat. Like, if it was like a looming threat like the Spinosaurus, I think I would have liked it more. But no, it has no hold to the story at all. It's stupid.
Yeah, it is.
It's retarded. This whole movie is
It,
retarded.
I really think the only time that they've ever done any kind of good shit with like, I feel like we're heading back to the Spinosaurus. That was the only cool genetically modified dinosaur. And I will say though, the is it is it the what
the
was the one from the very,
the
not the
Indominus
Indoraptor,
the Indominus
Indominus Rex.
Rex. Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I won't
I thought
lie,
it
it
was
was kind of cool. Like, especially when I was a kid, I was like, they mixed a Velociraptor and a T Rex and a cuttlefish and blah blah blah. That's neat. I like that.
but yeah, just to wrap things up though, just watch the first three movies and play the game if you get the chance to do so.
Hmm.
Because everything else is just kind of dog shit, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah,
But you know,
most would
that is,
consider everything after the first movie to be dog shit.
yeah. So, well, folks, I think that about wraps up
Yeah.
our stuff. Yeah. So, thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah.
I hope you guys have been inspired to at least watch the first three movies, and really don't watch anything else other than the three movies. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Next
dinosaurs.
next month, I don't think it's like been I have to get back to like Alex about it, but I don't think it's been solidified. But the current idea, the current plan that we have for April is to talk about it's an interesting topic really for us. I think you and Alex might get more out of it than me, but we're gonna be talking about anime and manga next month. It just seemed like an interesting topic.
Yeah, it's there like, I feel like a lot of people really love their specific animes, right? And there's a lot of different ones out there, but I feel like at least when it comes to manga on that side of things, there are a few manga that I have read that have really changed how I view myself. And like, so like there'll be a lot more just like in depth talking about just like how like anime and manga changes a person, at least
Uh,
in my experience. So there'll be a lot more than just like, hey, what's my favorite anime, gang?
what's your favorite
So
waifu?
what's your favorite? What? Well, there will be that. Don't worry, everybody. There will be that. There will be those shenanigans, but there'll be some more deeper.
what hentai do you watch?
Oh boy, I can't wait to get to that section.
Do you watch monster
Anyway,
hentai?
me too, bro. Me too. Uh, but anyway, folks,
Yeah.
this has been Bricked Up Podcast.
Building your algorithm
I
brick by brick.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks for getting that. I fucked it up.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, dinosaurs. No, no,
Dinosaurs. The
no,
the
no,
the
no,
the the
no,
the the
no,
the
Yeah, that's it, folks. We're getting the fuck out of here. All right, see you, folks.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Ah.